Here with me is the Redmi Note 11 and I've been using it for quite some time now, and in this video I will be reviewing the device. Not to be confused, in the Redmi Note 11 lineup, there are also the 11S, 11 Pro, 11 Pro 5G, and there are variants of the India version, the China version, and the international version. As you can see in the Redmi Note 10 lineup, there are a lot of family members within the series itself, and I believe there will be more variants in the future for the Redmi Note 11 lineup. The one with me is blue in color. There are also the grey and white color if you have other preferences. So right out of the box, it is running the latest MIUI 13 and it is running an Android 11, not Android 12, which is actually the latest Android version for 2021, meaning to say that Android 11 comes from 2020 and its security patch is November 2021. And there is an update which is about 400 MB big, and after updating it, it runs from MIUI 13.0.1 to 13.0.5, and the security update bumped up from November 2021 to January 2022, and it is still running in Android 11, not Android 12. So a quick exploration of the device after I've set it up is that there are a number of pre-installed apps in the phone itself. However, it is pretty easy to uninstall them, as the skin itself allows you to actually uninstall multiple apps at once rather than to uninstall it one by one. Still, they are considered bloatware, and I would appreciate it if there are no pre-installed applications that I do not want in the phone. A couple of default settings on the phone is that it is running light theme instead of dark theme. It is running at 60Hz instead of 90Hz, which the phone actually supports it. And you can choose between the app drawer or the iOS style if you want to, and it is running the classic 3 buttons at the bottom instead of the modern gesture method. The control center is a modern way that Xiaomi implemented to separate the notification with the toggles. However, after using the usual or standard way of having the toggles at the top and notifications at the bottom, I still prefer it that way compared to the so-called modern way that it is being implemented. The good thing is that you are allowed to choose between the old or the new way. There are a couple of defaults which are turned off, such as always on display, double tap to wake the phone, and raise to wake, which I have turned all of them on because those are features which I feel it is convenient to use the phone. Like, you could actually easily turn on the phone by just double tapping on the phone if it's on the table, or just picking up the phone, which is the raise to wake feature. And the always on display is a useful feature to have a quick glance to see if you have any notifications on your phone. There is a side-mounted fingerprint on the phone, and it works pretty fast and accurate, as you can see where I try to lock and unlock the phone multiple times. You can choose between touch or press on the power button to trigger the fingerprint, and to me I prefer touching it because it is a quick tap and it unlocks the phone pretty easily that way. There are a few shortcuts that Xiaomi actually implemented in the settings, and there are 3 of them which I feel which are pretty useful. Firstly is the 3-finger screenshot, and that taking a screenshot with 3 fingers swiping down is faster than actually swiping down the notification or the toggle to press the screenshot button, which actually takes like 1 to 2 seconds to screenshot compared to the 3-finger screenshots. And the other is the double tap on the power button, and I actually set it to Google Assistant, and there are a couple of options that you can choose from, and it works pretty well, as you can see in this sample. There is also another setting which is clear speaker, and I believe that is to clear any dust or water if the speakers were to be blocked on either side of the phone. And speaking about speakers, there are actually dual cutout speakers on the top and at the bottom of the phone, unlike most Android phones out there which actually have a proper speaker at the bottom and the cutout earpiece as the secondary speaker at the top. Per my usage, I honestly enjoy the speakers on the phone a lot because both sides actually provide an equal amount of volume coming out from the phone, and it goes pretty loud. And speaking about the clearing of speakers of the dust and water, this phone is rated IP53, so it can take certain splashes and dust, and you do not need to worry that much if you have any accidental water damages on the phone. So taking a physical tour of the phone, on the left side you could insert up to 2 SIM cards and a expandable micro SD card slot. On the right side you have the volume rocker, which is rather clicky in my opinion, followed by the power button or the fingerprint button at the bottom of it. In my opinion, I prefer all the buttons to be on the right side of the phone, because whenever you want to view any videos on full screen mode, the default orientation would be 90 degrees anti-clockwise. So if you were to place the phone on the table or on a stand, the volume is a bit hard to be reached, and if it's at the top, it is much easier to control it. And at the top, there is a physical cutout speakers as well as an IR blaster where you can actually control things such as your aircon, your TV, your projector, instead of reaching out for their respective controllers. And there is a 3.5 headphone jack if you are still using a wired headphone instead of true wireless earpiece, which most people are using these days. And at the bottom there is yet another speaker cutout and a USB-C charging to charge or data transfer from your phone to a PC. And speaking about charging, there is a 33 watt charger in the box where you can charge your phone full in about an hour. Moving on to the cameras, there is a 50 megapixel main camera, 8 megapixel ultra wide camera, and a pair of 2 megapixel macro and depth camera. And at the front you have a 13 megapixel front facing camera. So at the back of the phone, it is pretty standard these days when mid-range phone has 3 to 4 cameras at the back to market it as a triple or a quad camera setup. But honestly, the main usage of the camera is probably the main camera. It takes pretty okay photos in daylight, but it is grainy and certain details will be lost in night photography. The ultra wide is okay. The macro, honestly, I feel that it is better for you to use the main camera to take a close-up photo and crop in the details rather than to use a macro camera itself. For nighttime, there is night mode for the main camera, which will help to brighten up the photos. There is, however, no night mode for ultra wide camera, and the ultra wide camera for night photography, it is pretty grainy. For the macro, I do not think that you need to talk about it. There is a depth camera where you could actually control the post effect of taking a portrait mode. So after taking a photo in portrait mode, you can actually adjust the amount of blur that you want. And for videos, it is the same results where daytime is perfectly usable and nighttime is very grainy, and a loss of details are there regardless which camera you use them. So this is a quality of the main camera, shooting at 1080p at 30 fps. It is the default setting, which is also the maximum quality setting that you could go for. There are no 4K, there are no 60 fps for this main camera. As for the ultra wide camera, it is also the same settings, which is 1080p at 30 fps, no 4K, no 60 fps once again. And this is how the quality of the camera looks like for the ultra wide angle. For the front facing camera, it is also the same 1080p, 30 fps, no 4K, no 60 fps. And if I were to shoot against the sky, you can see that it is blown out, washed out. You can't see the detail of the sky, which is actually clouds in the sky, which is all white, as you can see here. This is once again the main camera, and it is low light sample right now, and as you can see that the video is a little grainy. And this is the sample for the ultra wide camera, and I do not think that this is anywhere usable for the ultra wide camera, because you can see that the grain is super bad and the details of it is meh. And this is the sample of the front facing camera in low light. So overall, I feel that this phone is a pretty good phone for its price. It has a pretty good performance where there is no visible lag, whether it is the starting up of the application or switching between applications. If you are someone who do not need NFC, this is the phone that you could actually use since it does not come with NFC. It has a pretty big battery of 5000 mAh power, and for me, I actually need to kill it in 2 to 3 days time of 6 hours screen on time spread across the 3 days. And if you are someone who do not really take much photos on this phone, this is definitely the way to go. But if you do take photos or videos, hopefully you do not need to take a lot of them at night, otherwise you would suffer certain quality losses in them. So with a phone that costs $259, this is definitely a pretty solid choice. It starts from 64 gigs of internal storage up to 128 gigs of storage, and you can actually expand it further with the microSD card slot. You can choose between 4 or 6 gigs of RAM depending on your preference or needs. But if this phone is not suited to your needs or wants, there is also the other family lineup of the 11S, the 11 Pro, 11 Pro 5G. But of course, there are also other brands and models to turn to if you want to look elsewhere. So if you enjoyed this video, do give it a like, do comment down if you have any opinion, and do subscribe for future videos like this. Thanks for watching! So for 260, 59, 79, 69, I don't know how much it costs.